Let's take a first look at the prompt lab in watsonx.ai. To access the prompt lab, we click into this first tile here. The label tells us we can experiment with foundation models and build prompts. So if I click into that, we're taken to the prompt lab. For now, we're just going to have a quick look around what's available to work with here. And in subsequent videos, we'll look at working with prompts and with foundation models. Um, Probably the first thing to show you here is the set of models that you can work with through watsonx.ai via the prompt lab. If I click into this drop down menu here, I can see some of the models that I've been working with recently, but if I click in this view all foundation models link, I get to see all the foundation models that I have access to work with via watsonx.ai. Some of these might be familiar to you already, maybe the Llama 2 model that's available here, or StarCoder, that's particularly good when it comes to generating code. Um, Also, you'll see the newly released Granite models from IBM, built and released by IBM there, I think, in September of 2023. So a variety of different foundation models. This is the list as it looks today, and it's an ever-growing list actually as models get released into the platform. If I come back out of the models that are available to work with here, let's see what else we have got in the prompt lab. I guess the majority of the UI is taken up by this uh, um, area that's used to build prompts, right? And we have this structured perspective on the prompts that we want to build, but we can also look at the freeform approach to building prompts. One of the easier ways actually to look at these with some data is via the examples that are made available in the prompt lab here. Um, these are actually great ways to get started with using prompts in watsonx.ai. You'll see different categories of examples that are available here across summarization, classification, generation, and so on. Um, if I click into one of them now, we won't run the prompt because we look at that in a future video, but just use it so that we get some data populated. What we have here is an example of a few shot prompt, where essentially we, via the structured UI here, are giving an instruction, or we will give an instruction to a foundation model, and it's actually a pre-selected foundation model for this particular example with some examples that we want to provide to the foundation model before we actually give it the data that we want to transcribe and generate the summary for. My primary reason for clicking into this was just to show you the UI and the difference between the structured UI, this populated, structured look and feel, versus if I go into the freeform switch mode here. Maybe for some folks that maybe are a little bit more familiar with building prompts, this might come easier to you in terms of working with this unstructured freeform format. Um, Other details that we can work with in the prompt lab around the prompts that we build are some parameters that we can provide to the model as we run the prompt, and we'll look at these again in more detail in a future video. And then also a code snippet. So, whilst we work in the prompt lab to experiment, I guess, and build our prompts and understand how they work and perform with the respective models that we choose to work with, invariably, the way in which you'll most likely work with these models on watsonx.ai is via API call. And so here's an example of a curl call to the particular model that we've decided to work with here with the prompt that we've created here, and that can be used, you can copy and paste that out and quickly put that into a command prompt or a terminal window with curl and execute the prompt there. Before I wrap this one up, again, we're going to look at prompts in a lot more detail in future videos, but why don't I just run this quick example just to show you how it works. So I go ahead and click on generate here. If I scroll down, you'll see that the call summary that was passed to the foundation model here, across each of these numbered lines, is ultimately summarized by the FLAN2 model here in just these couple of lines, right? So a very popular and common use case when it comes to working with large language models is this summarization task. Again, we look at prompts and building prompts, and actually these examples in a future video in a lot more detail.